Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today we're going to talk about Rage. Now this is a game that, or Rage 2 actually, I bought Rage and pre-ordered this game long before it came out. This was in development long before Borderlands. People thought, oh yeah, this Rage ripped off Borderlands, that's bullshit. Rage and id had been in development for a long time, but Carmack was working on his new texture deal so that way they could run the game at 60 frames per second and then have really smooth textures and what he called the mega textures. You could zoom in and see, more and more detail. Some people liked what he did with it, some people didn't. Apparently on PC it ran like shit. It had screen tearing and pop-in on the PS3 version, but the Xbox 360 version, which came on 3 discs, ran great. One disc was for the multiplayer car combat, and then there were 2 discs that were for the first half and the second half of the game. You had to load the second disc, and of course I install every game, but I love this game, and I have the DLC, the sewer missions, and all of the DLC that comes with it. I bought naturally, or maybe it came with it. I can't remember, but this is a fantastic game. This game is in my top 5 7th-gen games of all time. I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan for Mad Max, the Road Warrior. I love the concept of post-apocalyptic world. So for me, this gen, Mad Max, and Fallout 4 really fit the bill. Wasteland 2 Director's Cut, another one. I love that world. I love that universe of chaos, and I grew up with my kind of overly, I guess, religious parents, and they're always talking about the end of the world, and we're going to go through the tribulation, all this crazy shit. So it was like it's a real fear, but at the same time, I find it's like being afraid of the ocean, but yet you feel compelled to go out into it. I'm afraid of heights, but yet I'm climbing ladders and get up on rooftops, the same kind of thing. So I'm really drawn to the world building that was in Rage, and I think Rage was a fantastic game. I was shocked that it got the typical jaded reviews at the time, but that was indicative of the 2009 through 2012. That was a period where people were overly critical of games, not realizing that what they were doing is killing the golden goose. Because now we don't get a lot of great IPs like this until now. Apparently the game over time did fairly well in sales, but at first, because it got very mixed reviews, some people loved it, some people hated it, some people loved it but were afraid to say how much they loved it because it was more hip to say, oh yeah, the game was okay, it did some things alright. Let me tell you, this game is one of the coolest games I've ever played. The way they programmed the AI, there's virtually hundreds and hundreds of death animations. You shoot a guy in the shoulder and he would limp towards you, running towards you, with a bad shoulder and the leg or whatever. They'd come at you at the walls or different enemy types. Some people, bitched that there wasn't enough enemy types, but to me, the AI was brilliant. And it was like really a great RPG elements. It was really an action shooter with RPG elements rather than an RPG game, like a Fallout 3 or 4. But for me, it clicked off all the boxes. It was a hybrid combining car combat. Now, of course, Mad Max did it much better with the car combat, but for back then, man, it looked good. And on the 360, I had no complaints. I think there was one scene early on in the very beginning where I noticed a little texture pop-in. We were crossing a pedestrian bridge or something, but other than that, the game ran ultra smooth, 60 frames a second, super fast, fluid gameplay the way we used to get in Doom and Quake. To me, it's a masterpiece. It is my favorite developer. Raven Software is a close second. This game means so much to me. I'm so thrilled that we're going to get a Rage 2. I couldn't believe. I thought it was a hoax. I saw this Walmart thing, and then I saw the way Bethesda reacted to it, and I go, God, maybe there's actually some hope. And then they showed this live-action trailer aimed towards millennials, perhaps, with a bright, day-glow colors and pinks and blues, and it just looked so corny. It's like, God, don't ruin a great, realistic, game. Now, some people bitched about the story in this, that the narrative wasn't good enough. Certainly, the end was fairly abrupt, although it tied it up in a kind of a tidy fashion. They initially had planned a trilogy of this, so maybe they had to either wrap the thing up near the end, or they were just going to leave you on a cliffhanger so they could do the Rage 2, but either way, it got mixed reviews. I love the game. I love the fact that it had RPG elements for your ammo. You could get these little spider bots and throw them down, and they'd fight for you. You could upload the weapons with different ammo types, which were very cool. The game had so much to it. It was wasted on the jaded masses that, you know, had played too many shooters, perhaps. But to me, shooters is where it's at. I love shooters, and that's why this gen, I haven't got enough of them. You know, and it's more of these modern advanced warfare type things. And I'm just not really into that. But this Rage 2, when I saw just this morning, it was this GameSpot trailer that I saw, I said, okay, perfect. I'm sold. It's like Mad Max on steroids, and I really love the way it looks. So we'll hit it real quick and watch it. You know, hopefully I won't get a copyright strike for showing someone else's trailer, but this is Mad Max on roids. You got the giant monsters from the Rage in the first one. You got the Rage story.
Blink of an eye.
Mad Max, I mean, it's perfect.
Alliances
but with a first-person shooter dynamic.
Territory
very
was
cool.
conquered. There was no one left alive to tell you no. And in this wild, wide open place where you wanted something bad enough, it was yours for the taking. You see, in a world where there are no rules, insanity rules.
Awesome. Max, very cool. Very cool. You know, at first I saw the pink, I go, oh God, we're going to get locked into a female protagonist thing. Hopefully we won't, but hopefully it'll be more of a Fallout 4 where you can kind of pick your character and build them, you know, him or her the way you want. But it looks good. In fact, even Mad Max, some of the gangs, they had these bright day-glow colors, I noticed. So maybe they like that element and they're taking it up a notch. There's almost some Vietnam kind of vibe to it also with some of the jungle type settings. As Mad Max was just pretty much all about a giant, vast desert. So, to me, it works. But it's going to be a first-person Mad Max. You get more of the Fury Road, even larger-than-life, huge, over-the-top vehicles like you had in Mad Max Fury Road, the movie, where Mad Max was more of like the Road Warrior, you know, the game. So, between Avalanche, who I've got a lot of faith in, I really love. A lot of people say, oh, it's too much of the Ubisoft, you know, Far Cry formula, ticking off all about. You know what? I loved it. I loved all the hidden relics. I looted every single loot location that mapped till there was nothing left. I loved every bit of Mad Max. Mad Max is my favorite 8th gen game with a Fallout 4 closely behind it. This game, for me, ticks off all the boxes. Finally, a game for me that I like. So I don't even care what else showed E3. I'll see it after the fact. For me, I'm extremely excited about Rage 2. I was a little nervous at first with a live-action trailer, but now that I can see some bona fide gameplay, I like what I see. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people like more the cyberpunk theme. My friend Mike, he likes both. Vampire Mike of Sega CD Universe, he likes the post-apocalyptic theme and the cyberpunk, and he's kind of, sometimes you can't decide which one he likes more. For me, I clearly like the post-apocalyptic setting first and foremost, and then, you know, the other ones, the cyberpunk and sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm very excited. You let me know in the comments, what do you think about Rage 2? Do you give a shit? You don't care? Are you indifferent? Is it something you're looking forward to? How did you like the first Rage? Have you played it? If you haven't played it, you might want to check it out. This is a fantastic game. I'm going to have to play this soon and get back into it. I'm in the second, you know, land mass in that town where I left off last in this. I'm anxious to get back to this. It's such a wonderful game. It's so beautifully done. There's so many things in id Software. It looks like it's a combination maybe between id doing it as well as Avalanche. I'm not sure. I don't know all the details, but I'm really excited for Rage 2. So send it off in the comments, my friends. Let me know how you feel. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while. I've been really busy where I literally just raced home from work to make this video because I saw this literally right when I was going out the door this morning. Oh God, when I get back, I gotta talk about Rage 2, so here it is. Thanks for watching, guys, and no matter what they are, enjoy those games in your game collecting.